Right.
Hello. There we go.
Matt, two businesses with their names on big shiny towers have already moved out of downtown. Does that trouble you? Are we going to face a vacancy problem in some of these tall buildings?
I want to answer that question,
Okay.
and I will. But first, I would like everyone to sing happy birthday to Chrissy Wick, my beautiful wife who's in the back. This is not what she would have signed up for on her birthday, but I think we should all sing happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Chrissy. Happy birthday to you.
You have scored husband points.
I don't know. I actually may not have scored husband points. I'm not sure that's what Chrissy would want. Standing in front of Chrissy is the new star of the show. Any of you who've watched TV, Maria, our daughter, is in front of her. I know, basically, I'm just Maria's dad up here. That's all I am, and Chrissy's husband. But on a more serious topic, to answer your question, look, I think the market speaks. And for those couple of companies who've left, they aren't going far. They're going a few blocks away. And there are ebbs and flows. But I think it is reflective of the interests of those companies in finding a different spot that was right for them. But the Symphony is a gorgeous building. Pinnacle's fantastic. I'm hopeful that other folks will come in and move into those spaces. But I think we do need to understand what the market's saying with those trends you referenced.
I'm glad you brought up the Symphony. I have heard that there are certain patrons that just don't want to tackle downtown traffic and noise from pedal taverns while they're listening to pianissimo sections of a beautiful piece. Does this bother you?
For sure. Look, I think there is a balance. The Nashville Downtown Partnership talks a lot about live, work, and play, and invest. And it's important to have a balance there. It's funny, when I was growing up, I went to Hume Fog. The sun is coming right into my eyes. The light shines. And I mean, there was nothing happening downtown. And that was out of balance. And I think there is some concern, but this city has tried not having tourism, and I don't think that's a great position to be in either. But we absolutely need to have a balance between having tourism, making downtown a great place to work and a great place to live, and there are going to be tensions. These are, I mean, look, a lot of people are super upset, and I understand that. These are great problems to have, right? That there are too many people who want to do too many great things in our city, and that is not to minimize or dismiss the very real issues that institutions like the Symphony are having, but I think it is important for us to acknowledge, like, yeah, this is not that no one wants to be here, it's that too many people want to be in our great city. And so we start from that position and then we attack each of these problems.
You worked in the housing realm for a long time. How do we incentivize landlords to help us on this affordable front?
Yeah, I think there have been a number of important initiatives that were developed. There was a push to have inclusionary zoning. And I think just saying, developers, hey, you have to have X% be affordable is not the right approach. It actually disincentivizes construction. And affordable housing is simply like any other good, like beer or anything else. It's where supply meets demand. And there's been far too much demand and not nearly enough supply. And so we need to make sure that we have smart models. And I commend Councilmember Berkeley Allen and a number of others, Sharon Hurt, Freddie O'Connell, have done some good work about creating some structures to make sure that we can provide incentives for market rate developers. But we also need to be investing, I mean, literally, I created an affordable housing plan and moved to MDHA to implement that plan. MDHA owns a couple hundred acres of land that is underutilized, and I think we can build affordable housing on those properties up to 6,000 or 7,000 additional units without displacing any of the residents who live there today. So it's going to take a whole bunch of approaches to fill the various demands for housing.
Drop a pin on the map. Where is one of those attractive spots?
Well, I mean, there's 6. So there's one that I'm really excited about. So we've started work at Casey. And any of you who've not been at Casey recently, I would encourage you to go drive around. And you will see a mix of housing going up there. And there was a lot of concern by the community when the Envision plan was being created. And now the concern that you hear from the residents is that the transformation isn't happening quickly enough. We launched this plan, it was put on the shelf, but that's something that I'm committed to. I'll give you one other example that I'm super excited about. So the assets that drive most cities are the universities. Not the only thing, but universities have a powerful impact on cities. Vanderbilt, Lipscomb, Tribeca. We have 3 amazing HBCUs within 1 mile of each other, plus ABC, where we'll be for a debate later. But that academic mile has been neglected by our city for far too long. So I believe that MDHA, which has Andrew Jackson right next door to Fisk, which is booming. Fisk is doing an incredible job. There's incredible demand for student housing at Fisk. Andrew Jackson is right next door. We ought to employ the model that we're using at Casey to redevelop Andrew Jackson, which also probably needs to be renamed, but that's a different question. Redevelop Andrew Jackson into the same model of mixed income housing where there's market rate, deeply affordable, and workforce housing integrated in the way to help address the demand for student housing at Fisk. And then on the other end of that academic mile, there's about 100 acres that's north of Walter S. Davis and west, actually not too far from here, of Ed Temple Boulevard that could be an amazing corporate campus. And I think the city can help provide some infrastructure. Now look, this is an idea I'm excited about, but I think that the leaders of those amazing anchor institutions, Fisk, Meharry, and TSU, need to work with the community, as the city will, to figure out if that's the vision that the community wants. But that is a way that we can invest, to answer your question, redevelop public housing into a thriving mixed income neighborhood that serves the residents and the neighbors well, but also is anchored in the strength of the 3 most amazing HBCUs in the country that the city has not invested in the way it should have.
Community Oversight Board, the state has, let's say, set it aside. Do you think Nashville should sue over that? And how would you fill the gap if it goes away?
Look, there's a lot of litigation back and forth between the state. I don't know the legal findings of this, but here's what I do think. The mayor needs to be the person who steps in and is the adult in the room and convenes people. And I believe that a well-functioning, well-funded community oversight board that has authority, but is held to the same high standards that we hold our police officers to, is a wonderful thing for our police department. I believe that our police department is incredibly well led, and we all saw, and this is a painful thing to bring up, but on March 27th, we all saw how bravely and professionally our first responders, the fire department, OEM, the police department, responded to that crisis. So we should have a community oversight board. It's good for the police department, and it absolutely builds public trust, and that's something that the mayor does have some authority to help institute, and I will do that.
You went to Hume Fogg, right?
I did.
Okay. 99% graduation rate. That's really impressive, but fewer than 30% of the students proficient in math by some measure.
Yeah.
Is that troubling? And what do you do about that?
Yeah, look, I think that we need to continue to have high standards for our public school students across Metro, and we need to raise the standards. But this is one of the issues. I don't actually have a problem with the 3rd grade retention concept, setting high standards, but the problem was they rushed it in and didn't do the work. I mean, they set these kids up for failure, communicated poorly. There should have been a long-range plan that was set where we're setting high expectations and we're giving kids and teachers the tools that they need to meet those high goals. Just slapping down arbitrary standards with very punitive repercussions for not meeting standards and then not giving folks the time to be able to meet those high standards is not a way to operate. We need to have long-range goals, immediate actions, and so yes, we do need to raise the standards for kids across Metro.
All right, here's your 30-second mark. Finish up.
Well, I love this format. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you for sticking around. I like it because there is a depth to each of these issues. None of them is easily addressed in a 30-second question. And so thank you for setting up this format. Thank you for having us here. The one question you didn't ask, which I'll answer now, is What sets you apart from the other great folks who you heard here today? And I believe that the thing that differentiates me, objectively speaking, is that I have actual executive leadership experience at the local government level. Government is not a business. I think there are principles that I've learned from my 15 years in private sector that can apply to government, but government isn't a business. There isn't a common metric to measure whether we should be investing in libraries or parks, a police department or schools. So it's different than a business. But having executive leadership experience is important. You all are interviewing folks to be the CEO of a $3 billion enterprise with 56 different departments, 81 boards and commissions. And you should expect the CEO of your company, our city, to have some executive experience, period, and preferably some executive experience in local government. I'm Matt Wiltshire. I think I offer that to you. I'd love to earn your vote. Thank you for being here.
Thank you very much.